Plaintiff Jasmine Warner says at age 11, she discovered that the only father she knew may not be her biological father. Jasmine claims she now believes that she and the defendant share the same father, but she wants to know for sure. So she petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test. Defendant Kendall Underwood grew up without his father in his life, and it took an emotional toll on him because he had no male role model to look up to. Kendall hopes the DNA will prove that he and Jasmine are related.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
All right, we're here to consider the sibling test that you all took.
Correct.
All right, start with you.
Okay, so up until I was 11 years old, I believed that my little brother's father was my biological father.
Up until then?
Yes.
What happened then?
All of a sudden we moved schools my 5th grade year, and when I went to the front of the class to be introduced as the new student, I was called by a completely different name, Jasmine Gillette Warner, which is my birth name. But I was under the impression my name was Jasmine Lee Jones. Yeah. So my teacher had told me that when I was like, that's not my name.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed her my school ID. And she was like, I don't know, you need to talk to your mom.
Oh.
So when I went to talk to my mom just, that's not your dad. No other explanation. And I was 11, so I didn't really know how to process it or what other questions to ask.
Up until 11, you assumed it was
my little brother's dad. Yeah.
And was he still living under the same roof when you were told?
No, their divorce was finalized and they were separated.
At what age were you when they were separated?
About 11.
Okay, around that time.
That's when their separation was final.
Before that's when the name occurred at the school.
Yeah.
So all of that, okay, makes sense now. And how have things been since then with your mom in particular, or him, your dad, the relationship?
He kind of just stopped coming to get me and would only get my brother. Mr. Jones would start coming to the house like on summers or like breaks, and only getting my brother and not me. So that kind of hurt my feelings as a kid, obviously. It still does. No other explanation. And then I want to say the 7th grade, I found my birth certificate with my biological dad's name on it. And I asked her, is this my dad? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, well, can you help me find him? And she wouldn't help me find him, even up until recently.
And she didn't say why?
No. My auntie Melissa, she came up with the plan to tell my mom to put him on child support. So that way he can be aware that I am alive if he's looking for me. And I can at least know where he is. And she didn't want to do that either. So I ended up doing it on my own.
Sir, you want to give me some background?
I just want to start. I didn't really know my father because he passed in 2005, and I was very young.
What was his name?
Jerome Warner, the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually been around him and things like that. I only know like one memory I have, and it was like tobacco smoke and a song playing, and that's the only thing that I can remember.
Wow. How old?
I had to be like 4 or 3, and I can tell you what song it was. It's time to go to trial, like Mr. Biggs, and it's take it to whatever the song is. And yes, sir. But other than that, I didn't know him, and it brought me great pain in my life. And
which part?
Just not having a father, and growing up in poverty, in a single parent home.
I know the effects, but I'm trying to get to the emotional pain.
It was tragic. I had nobody to communicate to on a manly, like, a man standpoint. I just grew up with my mom, all women. My grandma has like 8 sisters. There's no man in our family, so it hurt me. Nobody would help me do things that a man should be doing. Like I had to learn how to shave on my own, like, and I had to do that as a man. I didn't even do it as a teen, and so certain things like that, it hurt me because I didn't know a lot. And then sports, I had nobody influencing me. It's like everybody gave up. It really felt like everybody gave up on me but just because it's no man. And growing up and trying to be with the women on my own, I just learned that women brings men energy. So
What's that?
Women brings men energy.
Oh, bring them energy.
Mm-hmm. And so my mom had no other energy in the house, so it was just her. And I just
You got siblings in the household that grew up with you?
Yeah, they grew up with me.
How
but
many in the house grew up with?
3. 2
boys, girl, or all girls?
2 boys and 1 girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. So, and even their parents, they passed away. My brother, my oldest brother, his dad passed away. My sister, her dad passed away, and my youngest brother, thank God he still has his dad. So
good.
It was tragic. I had nobody to communicate to on a man standpoint. I just grew up with my mom, all women. My grandma has like 8 sisters. There's no man in our family, so I had to learn how to shave on my own, and I had to do that as a man. I didn't even do it as a teen, and so certain things like that, it hurt me because I didn't know a lot.
Plaintiff Jasmine Warner has no idea who her biological father is, but she believes she and the defendant may share the same father. So she petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test.
Did you finish high school?
No, sir. Didn't get it. I hold myself accountable because I was doing things that I had to do for me. School wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't do it at the time. And that also brought me pain, but I overcame that knowing that life don't stop,
Right. You're
it
not
don't
over
stop.
with yet. How old are you?
23.
23. You haven't gotten your GED, or do you intend to? Or?
Yes, sir, I intend to. I was working and saving. So for me, that was just doing what I needed to. For me, that's good because where I come from. But the only thing I had to do was get away from that environment.
Right.
That's what I had to learn. It's not about what you got or what you have. You got to go and set yourself free. You got to leave. It's crabs in the bucket where I'm from. And I had to understand that people pulling you down, nobody want to see you really do good. You know what I'm saying? So
Great analysis. You have a very good grip on society and on your reality and journey because I know all about that. Not having a man in my life. I met my dad for 2 weeks and I never saw him again, and I was 12 and raised by a mother, 4 boys, toughest housing projects in Detroit. So I know that. However, the difference, and that's why I always ask young men, me and my buddies, as I recall, none of us had dads. About only probably 10-20% of the people in the projects had dads. So we don't know what it's like to have no dad. We ain't missing nothing. We don't know what it is when you have one. Yeah. So that was kind of our mindset. So I always like to hear young men who say, I really missed it. This was what the downside was, because you have a great grip on the downside as it relates to your realities that you have to live through. Education, hustling, trying to do what you can. And so that's why I always liked to hear that. And then the other thing is, you are absolutely right. You have to get out of the environment. You have to, whether it's escape in just by mindset, meaning you might just become a avid Christian and you spending all your time at the church day and night. I'm gonna volunteer to be this for the pastor and that's my haven. Or you work at the recreation center, volunteer or whatever, so you gotta be there every day and that's your haven. You ain't gotta worry about whatever's out there. So that's escaping from the inside when you can't escape physically, because everybody can't. You were able to, it sounds like, I was able to, only by going to college. And guess what? The similarity again, crabs in the barrel, right?
Yes, sir.
They don't want you to do good, right? When you leave those projects and you go to college, right? Yes, first time I came back, summertime, right? Yes, bragging to my buddies about going to college, telling them just like I'm telling you, get a GED, man. You can get in college with a GED. You can get financial aid. Same guys I used to run with. Take a close look. You probably can't see it, but the viewers can. That's where they pistol whipped me and robbed me and took my gym shoes, took my jacket, everything. Same guys I used to roll with, crabs in the barrel. Talked about, what you doing, going to college? So I say that to say to you, I'm backing up to the public what you are saying. Many people try and perhaps suggest, Judge always bringing it back to himself. I like to back up what people are saying.
Yes, sir.
From firsthand experience, not no book, not somebody told me, not I think, or I saw it on a movie, or I saw it on television. No, I was a part of all that. So I'm going to tell it. I'm going to verify it when someone comes in here and says, look, I didn't have a dad that left me and my mama in poverty and me and my other siblings. We lived in poverty. It hurt. I need to hear that so I can say, yep, that's just how it goes. With the exception, the only difference I'm hearing is the hurt. I didn't hurt because I didn't know about no dad. What's his name again? I don't even know. Yeah, whatever. That was how I felt. You going to say something?
No, I was going to say the hurt only came from me trying to love a woman, and I didn't love her the right way. And that's another reason why I said, my father, I needed that, because I didn't know that I was treating the person that I really love, you know what I'm saying, wrong, just because I didn't know how to communicate. Nobody never taught me those things. Nobody teaches us about love. Nope. That's something you gotta teach somebody, how to love somebody, or you know what I'm saying. Nobody
so much wisdom for a young guy who don't have a high school diploma. Mm-hmm. That's why I want.
I'm a very great artist. I make music, so.
Do you? Okay.
So I'm very good at communications.
Well, then go and get you some paperwork on the engineering, so that when you're 70 and you're not making music anymore, you can be in the studio still where you like to be. So keep that in mind. Yes, to get a transferable skill, meaning that if something go down, you can go somewhere else and do the same thing. If one studio say we don't like you, the producer say we don't like you, the label say they don't like you, then you got a transferable skill. Well, I don't have a deal right now and I can't get paid because nobody's letting me produce, so I'm gonna get a job engineering in the studio where the producers are gonna be rolling through there.
Yes, sir.
And the artists. And you might see a producer who you can network with to produce your stuff.
Yes, sir.
That's what makes hits, am I right or wrong? Yes, sir. Producers make hits. And so I say that to say, do that in addition to pursuing your career as a performer.
It's crabs in the bucket where I'm from. And I had to understand that people pulling you down, nobody want to see you really do good. You know what I'm saying? So
great analysis. You have a very good grip on society and on your reality and journey, because I know all about that. Not having a man in my life. I met my dad for 2 weeks and I never saw him again when I was 12.
Plaintiff Jasmine Warner has no idea who her biological father is, but she believes she and the defendant may share the same father. So she petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test.
You're hitting everything because I share that, and it's so embarrassing to me that I never really knew how to treat a woman until my father-in-law. And at that time, I was 20, 21. Never knew. Didn't know. Same situation. Didn't know how. And know how I learned? By watching him. Nobody sat me down. He really didn't sit me down and tell me. I just watched. And I'm still missing a lot. And I still regret not having learned those lessons. How to communicate. I don't know how to communicate a lot very well with my daughters. Nor do I know how to communicate about average things with my wife. There's some communication deficits that you have with women when you don't have a father in your life. You're verifying that.
Yes, sir.
And I agree. Young lady, I'm sorry to go through all this, but it is very important. I know what you all are here for are more important, but whenever I get a chance to use somebody who can change somebody or influence somebody, I got to do it. And the connection occurred when?
Okay, so I hired a private investigator June 8th to search for my father, and he got back to me that night with a little bit of information that I followed up on June 9th. And then I reached out to where he was buried, and I asked them for a picture so I can give it to my mom to verify is that him, because the birth dates were wrong. So the man that the private investigator came to me with had a completely different birthday than the man on my birth certificate. So he was a little scared to actually look in.
What have your emotions been like since you've known all this? And when you were thrown into a state of confusion, which was at age 11?
All over the place, just feeling like I don't belong anywhere. And, you know, constantly asking my mom, like, do you hate me? Or, like, is it because my dad didn't want to be around? Is that why you treat me like that? So it's been hard. So just pretty much trying to search and feel like I belong somewhere. So I'm hoping that he is my brother.
And you hoping the same?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, it's not good news. You're not siblings. So I just don't like, I just gotta add that parents, y'all gotta come clean. You don't know what type of damage you're doing to these young people or your children. You gotta come clean. Stop playing games with these children. If you don't know, just say you don't know who the father is. Don't give them the wrong impression that they live with most of their life. Begging you parents, don't play these games. And I'm sitting out here talking and hoping that you all are learning how much you hurt your own flesh and blood when you play games. Hang in there, man. Have a good day, guys.
I'm just thankful for somebody to reach out to me and search for me. And, you know what I'm saying? Somebody, hey, I want you to be in my life. I'm proud of that. A lot of people don't get that. So even if, like I said, I was at a low point before when she reached out to me, and it healed me. So now I gotta help heal her. It's just who I am.
I still love you, and I still want you to be my brother.
We're brothers and sisters.